Alright guys, we have a brand new camera here, a new phone. I haven't shaved in a while, and since then I've got a new phone. Forgive me if the audio is weird or it takes me a little bit to get used to it. But today I'm going to show you guys a razor that I just got in and I'm looking forward to it. Now before we actually look at it, I want to show you the box here. It's from Koraat. I assume I'm pronouncing that correctly. It's an Austrian maker, and very nice box, as you would expect, because some of the razors are pricey, and I understand you get what you pay for because the steel they use has been specially treated, and we're talking precision. The scales, the handle has been really worked on well, and a lot of the makers now, the modern straight makers, they have to charge a good bit because of what they're doing, and so I think you're not getting ripped off, right? But for that reason, this is actually my first ever modern brand new purchase of a straight razor. I do have a couple that were new old stock, one, maybe two, and I've shaved on it before on this channel, and it did really well, and held your strand or something like that. But that's a razor that was made many years ago, and somebody found some that had never been used and sold them on eBay. And the straights that I have, I've gotten off eBay. And if you hunt, and if you know kind of what you're looking for and what fixes you can do versus fixes that are, if it's got rust near the edge, just don't even try to restore that usually. So anyway, I've got older straight razors, and so we have a sub on Reddit, and it is wet shaving, and we have done a couple of sub exclusives like this brush here, and I've used it on this channel a good bit. It's a big 31mm bore brush, and we're soaking it for a shave here. As you can see, I haven't shaved in a while. And that was a brush we got together, everybody, pooled our money, and we got Zenith to put that brush together for us, and including mounting them in the handle and etching the handle with the logo and stuff that you saw. Now, we thought about, the guys started thinking about what can we do next, and they said let's try a straight razor, but let's not do an expensive one. We need to try to make one that's great for the masses, kind of like this. A bore brush is just very affordable. It's a great option, but what to do with it, what to choose. Well, they went with the 14. There's a bring in the high-tech graphical technology here. The idea in the cloud here of the 14 is a great straight razor concept. It exists in several different forms, both in history and in a few makers today, and it has wonderful features that a lot of people like. It's a big blade that has almost a near wedge feel to it. However, it's got a tight little grind that makes it feel just kind of light as a feather and kind. And it's got usually a slightly rounded but mostly square point to have it not be too vicious, like a Spanish point or something like that, or a square point could catch you on your earlobe or various other places. But those are kind of the main characteristics of the idea of a 14. And I've got some notes here. The Boker, Koraat, River razors are examples of modern makers who make a 14, but they're really, really expensive because they know that it's a razor people like. And then when they finish it properly with the on the spine of the blade, polishing the blade, polishing and working on the scales and all that, then it's pricey. So what do? You can buy a vintage one, right? Well, some of the vintage ones, like our Philharmonica, Henkel's, Iberia, Friodor, those also can cost a lot because they're prized. You can get lucky on eBay, but sometimes you don't. And so those are still a little bit pricey, and then you never really know what condition they're in. They may need some edge work. So what they thought of was, with the 14 being kind of a universally loved format. Let's see what somebody wrote. I think it was Jungilla. The big size makes it run calm like a near wedge. The extra hollow grind makes it flexible and gentle as a feather. The square point with the slightly rounded point makes it forgiving. It's the best of all worlds for beginners and aficionados alike. So I always, when I don't know too much about stuff, I rely on the wisdom of others. And that's what I'm doing in this case, because I have used a straight several times, but not a lot. And so go back to our handy visual representation here. So we got the idea of a 14 that they said, hey, let's see what we can do. Well, Koraat makes a 14. They call it the 14 2.0. But it's pricey. So what can we do? Well, Koraat also makes a Piggy Bank razor. It's called the Piggy Bank. In German, I think it's Sparschweinchen, something like that. And on their site, they have that listed. And it's the same quality blade that you get from their higher priced razors. But the finish on the blade, the scales are not that complicated, not that sophisticated, and not as well polished, literally. And so that's why that razor is a much more affordable option. And so our little team of brainiacs decided, let's take this 14 idea and let's make one happen. Let's see if we can combine the finish level of the blade and the handle, the scales of the Piggy Bank razor with the measurements, the traditional measurements of the 14. So basically take a 14 blade and put it in a Piggy Bank handle, but finish the blade not quite as nice, as shiny as the 14 2.0, more like the Piggy Bank. And that's what gives us we're calling it the MOARteen, because this brush, we called it the More Bore. MOARBOAR, more bore, because it's a huge bore, right? And so they decided to keep going with the name, and this is the MOARteen. And so Ulrich over at Koraat, we checked with him, and I wasn't a part of this development process at all. I just I saw the news after they had gotten everything together. They were asking for people who were in on it, and I just joined in. But I just wanted to bring it to you guys to show it to you. And so they contacted Ulrich. He said yes. There was a certain number of razors that we needed to sign up for to get it. And I'm saying this because even though this is a subreddit exclusive, your group of shavers could do the same thing. Get together and pre-order kind of thing and create your own little additions or subtractions from the design. So instead of the alterations, he's going to make a version of the 14 2.0. It's going to have our little lather schnoo Reddit guy instead of the 14 2.0 stamp on the blade. It will be it'll have more bore on there as well. The contours, the spine, the tang, the tail, they will all be raw forged, finished, kind of like the Piggy Bank razor. The scales will be more simple, and they will be turned and have a spacer in there instead of something more complex to simplify the assembly. The scale color will be the same, just a simple green color like we had here. Well, that later on had to change because they couldn't source that same color. But we came up with something that we liked anyway. And so, yep, sure enough, 15/16 inch wide. And so it's almost a full inch wide. Nice big format. Hollow grind, thin belly, square point with a slightly rounded corner. and it's all at a reasonable cost. So we all got together and got in touch with and pooled our money. Everybody submitted. We all put in our shipping addresses, and the guys who administrated it, thanks to them for doing that. Now let's get to the razor. We've told you all the info. So this is what one of the straight razor cases looks like from Koraat. Kind of a fabric coated paperboard. And then we have a nice plastic sleeve, a felt interior there. So those of you who may not have been able to get in on the ordering process, that's why I'm making this video. And for those of you who might want to create your own special order with your own group of shaving fans, plastic bag, kind of a wax paper kind of thing. And we had to go with, we thought what looked best was this shimmery, speckled, semi-transparent color of the on the scales there, and it's the same green roughly as the Moore brush. So you can see the nice big format of the blade. Everything is, there's nothing rough here. You know, he definitely finished it professionally. Just as you can probably see, this is more of a matte surface. And of course, the grade, the blade area here was not polished to as nice of a sheen as he would have with the more expensive versions. And it's almost like gun blue, you know. And then there's the lather schnoo. Wouldn't it be neat if my video camera finally was able to zoom in and stuff, or focus really closely. I've had to sacrifice that for a long time. But anyway, here is the little lather schnoo character. And then here's the Koraat symbol, logo. And then, is that pretty much it? Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, and it's got a little bit of roughness. I haven't used this razor yet. It's brand new. Got a little roughness there on the edge, just because they were not going to finish it all the way. That's kind of the whole point. And here's that bearing spacer that that I mentioned that they would put in instead of something that kind of comes flush to the end of all the scales. But you can see the straightness, of course, is perfect. So, high quality blade, well done blade, maybe just not with the finishing touches of something super expensive, but that's okay, because now we don't have a super expensive razor. And so the way, I like the thickness here. It's got a nice beefy blade width there, the tang. And it doesn't have any jimps, but that's okay. That would have added to the cost, right? And so I'm looking forward to using this. Show you the profile. You can see it's got a very hollow grind here, but we have some nice thickness and stability here. It does have the kind of grind where it gets, let's see if my hand is behind it. Will that help you to see? As it gets close to the edge, it gets just a little bit thicker before it goes down to the bevel of the edge. And I know that there's a certain kind of name for that kind of grind. I think Ulrich called it the Sheffield grind or something like that. But, you know, slightly rounded little corner there just to keep you from hurting yourself. And it's got a slight, very slight smile to the blade edge there. It just looks like it's going to be wonderful. Just a nice piece of modern shaving technology here, but at budget prices, because we chose not to have the scales, the finish on the blade, all done at quite a high level. because what matters is, how does it feel in the hand, and most importantly, how does that blade edge work during your shaving? And so we chose to leave behind all of the kind of the trimmings so that we could get a practical, inexpensive, but ultra high quality razor. So there we go. I don't know that there's too much else to bring to you. Yeah, see, it's even the bluing, or the rough matte finish is just like it was in the back here, is rubbing away in a few of the spots on this surface as well. But big deal. I kind of like that finish quite a bit. Closes perfectly centered. Nothing, no etching or logo on the scales themselves. But the rivet work is just perfect. I've got plenty of vintage razors that kind of need the rivets to be tweaked a little bit. So there we go. The MOARteen, a blade with the characteristics of a 14, but with the trim package of the Piggy Bank razor, and to make it affordable and usable for a lot of guys. So I can't wait to use it. I am not going to use it to take down all this growth right here. I'm going to use something else for that, and we're going to do that soon. So thanks for watching. Take care now. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves. Bye-bye.